And good morning, everyone. I'm Willie. Thank you for being here. If you stumbled across the channel, please subscribe. All the information's down below. If you are a regular or a return visitor, thank you. I do appreciate each and every one of you. And today is June 27th, 2020, and I've got just a small list of things I want to talk about. Real quick, before we get too far into this, I want to make sure that you can all hear me. So if you're on the live stream, give me a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments if everything sounds okay. Sometimes it's a little hard for me to tell. So there's about 20 of you in here right now. So thank you again. Good morning. How's everything sound? Reginald says it sounds good. Justin says it sounds fine. Don't mention the sunburn. Yeah, I'm not burned, but I do have a nice tan going on. So everybody's piling in this morning. As you can see from the title, we're gonna unbox a Reolink camera that I've got that you're gonna see a full in-depth review and plugging that into my Synology surveillance station. And we're going to do a little bit of business talk and talk a little bit about WRT. So when we get to the business talk, those of you who are consultants, those of you who dabble in business, we'll talk, and I'm looking for some feedback and things like that. But first, I'd like to show you something. If you follow me on social media, on Twitter and Instagram, you'll see that my wife made a stencil for me for a sign. And this sign was inspired by my uncle went to New Orleans and brought back a sign that was made out of cut up license plate letters, and it's French for "Let the good times roll." And I really like that, so we did our own take on it, and this is what it looks like. So this was made, my wife made the stencil for this. This is not the official Disney font, by the way. This is a knockoff from 1001freefonts.com. And so I'm thinking about mounting this like right here, like right above my head. And then I've got some other things, some little signs and stuff that I think I want to put behind me. What do you all think about that? I really like this sign. So what she did was she made the stencil, and we put the stencil on this, and this is reclaimed pine from E.T. Moore & Sons. They are the largest reclaimed pine distributor in the world, and they sent me over some wood after we moved into the house, and then this is actually wood stain on here. That's not a sticker. So we'll have to see how it works out. Good morning, Sean. Sean Woods is with us. But yeah, I think, Reginald, I want to center it over my head. I've got some other things. I was actually thinking about painting my logo on the wall as well, and then getting a wider shot of this out. The reason that I don't want to orient the camera in that direction or over there is because I've got windows on that side of my office. So I'm thinking that this will probably be the best way to do that. But I was thinking about painting my logo, and then maybe hand drawing logos of the brands that I support and putting them on the wall. And they're painted that way. If I decide to drop a brand or bring a brand on, I can just keep painting. But this would be a much wider shot, and I don't know that you've all ever seen the shelving where all of the lab gear lives, but you'll get a chance to see that. I got a little bit of lab gear, and so we'll get to that. And some other exciting news coming up is if you all don't follow Cambium Networks, they have actually released their Wi-Fi 6 APs. They've also released some wireless gear that is specifically for backhauling cameras. I'm really excited about that. I can't wait to get my hands on that. But then also this fall, they told me that they are actually going to have Wi-Fi 6 point-to-point backhauls. So we're talking about 5 gigahertz radios that are going to give us gigabit throughput on a backhaul. So now you don't have to worry about 60 gigahertz rain fade and those obstructions. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait to get my hands on those either. So stay tuned for that. I'm trying to work with them and trying to see what I can work out about getting some of that to show it off here. So it's going to be something else. So let's talk a little bit about business. Those of you who are in the chat that are over in that are doing business related functions. And Silas, yes, I am. No, I thought you said the stream is at 7:20 a.m. For some of you, it's like 6:30, it's 7:30, but no, the stream should be in 1080. But I'm looking and I'm not dropping any frames. Everything looks good. 30 frames a second. Yeah, everything looks good. So I'm not sure what's going on, but yeah, so Reginald, what you're talking about in the UI store, I can't talk about that live. Otherwise, I risk losing any kind of special privileges that I have with Ubiquiti. So anyway, it's interesting that it's in 720, so I'm going to have to definitely take a look at that. Foscam, interestingly enough, Foscam reached out and they sent me a new webcam, and it's supposed to be a 1080 webcam and have all these awesome things. And I've reached out to them because I got it the other day and I plugged it into my computer, and the first thing that came up is it said it couldn't load its driver, but that a new boot device was ready. And so that kind of made me nervous. So I'm waiting for them to get back with me because I'm hoping that these devices haven't been compromised. When I got the box from Foscam, it looked like the UPS man had played soccer with it. So very, very strange on that. But we're going to get to this Reolink camera here in just a few minutes. But one thing I want to talk about, and it's Mac Telecom is here. Hey, Joe from Cajoling is here. So a lot of you do consulting and things like that. And I ran into a case that kind of had me befuddled the other day because I'm going to pull up my terms and conditions and all that stuff so you can all see that. And if you look at the vendors in my space, I am the lowest cost per hour right now. So I may be doing a rate adjustment to make sure that I'm staying with the other folks that are in my space, because then you start running into like this $10 sandwich problem, right? So you got like Tom and his crew that are at 200 and 200 plus an hour. You've got Chris and his crew that are 150 and whatever plus hour. And then you got Willie Howe, who's still at 120 an hour and doesn't want to raise his rates. But I think I have to because I'm in that same kind of group with those guys. So I think I have to raise my rates. Otherwise we start running into a perceived value issue. So I had a couple local clients where I was only charging them, $60 an hour. And then anytime anything happened, it was always a network because, well, we only pay $60 an hour for network support. So I raised them to $90 an hour. Then now I've got them at the full rate per hour. And now the network problems don't exist, right? So now they figure out when there's issues, it's not really the network. But let me switch over to my terms and conditions when you engage with me. And on here, it's a 2-hour minimum for new customers. It's non-refundable. To get on the schedule, you have to pay for 2 hours. Everyone knows that. This is in red letters. It's italicized. It's bold. It's underlined. And we put that out there because people need to understand if they just go by hours and they get a hold of us, especially with where we say we're scheduling 5 to 7 days out. Now that is for new customers. If you're a time pack customer who buys 10 hours at a time, obviously my time is much more flexible with those folks. But, everything here is spelled out pretty clear in my terms and conditions. And so you come down here and, it talks about the hourly rate is $120 per hour billed in 15-minute increments. And it talks about refunds, payments, warranty, all that thing. So my terms and conditions are spelled out just like everyone else. They are very clear, really, literally right here in black and white. And before you can make a payment, you actually have to agree that you've read the terms and conditions. So this is legally binding that you've done that. So I had a customer the other day who bought 2 hours. And I spent at least 2 hours on the phone with them. And the phone call wasn't just like, oh, this, we talked about gear and how to proceed and how to set this up, how to set that up, how their business was built, how everything went and where they wanted to go. Then in the second call, it was just me and the tech guy. And we talked about doing this and doing that. So it's not like it was just like this high level conversation to decide if I wanted them as a client. Well, they emailed me and wanted something else. And so I let them know they had purchased 2 hours and that they were pretty much out of time. And this is the response that I got. Mr. Howe, I disagree with you on an item. Customer meetings aren't chargeable for more than $35 an hour in our book. So what he's telling me is that I should only charge him $35 an hour of my time to be in a meeting to discuss business plans when he's engaged me as a consultant. He believes that that's all that I should be charging him. So he obviously didn't read the terms and conditions and look at the rates, right? He said they are there to help you understand our system. But at no time was it just an explanation of what their system was. It was, this is what we've got, this is what we want to do, what should we use, right? So we are talking about building out a network, talking about changing configurations. So then he says, I'm spending more time communicating with you on the phone and email than any one vendor I've worked with in 2 years. Well, when you're making plans, there's a lot of communication back and forth. And I usually don't charge for emails. It has to be a lot of emails. So if we're going back and forth, and I've got a half hour, 45 minutes wrapped up in emails, yeah, that's billable time, right? So I'm going to charge that back to your time. He says, your sense of a value is inflated. Your sense of value to us is inflated. Our system is fine and works well without your intervention. Okay? Then he said, actually, the more I reflect on this, I propose you keep the money and we not work together. Please consider your services ended, not needed, and paid in full. So guess what? I am not refunding this customer. If they do try to do a chargeback to the credit card company or PayPal, I will provide times and dates of meetings, how long the meetings went, how many emails we had, and then I'll provide, this information. I don't expect to see a chargeback, but if you are, if you are consulting, tell me in the comments, do you think this was an unreasonable situation? Everyone that I've worked with, the thousands of people that I've worked with since I started doing the consulting in 2015, 2016, this is the first time I've ever had anybody tell me that I should charge them a lesser rate for meetings. And I actually think it's kind of ludicrous. So this is going to be one of those people that are probably very difficult to get along with no matter who you are. His employees probably have a difficult time with him, right? So I don't understand as a client, like when I take my car to get it serviced, there are certain things that I just don't jack with because it's, there's a saying that says if you think it's, if you think it's expensive to hire a professional, wait until you hire an amateur, right? So there are things that I'm not just going to jack with. There are qualified professionals that do certain things, subject matter experts, and I'm going to go to them. Like when I have, issues with my car, I'm not going to try to put an airbag in myself, right? So, but that would be the same as me going to my car dealer and, saying, hey, I want to put this airbag in, but since you're only putting the airbag in and you're not putting brakes on, I only want you to charge me 50% of the fee, right? And I just don't understand that mindset. So let me know if you think, that I'm, wrong on that. Yeah. And somebody said $35 an hour. Are they kidding? Yeah. So I'm not going to tell you the specifics of this customer because even though we obviously are no longer doing business, I still do keep that information private. I never mentioned any names or situations. If they see this, they're obviously going to know who they are and may cause them to be even more infuriated, but I didn't put the name out there, what they do, how their business is built, any of that stuff. So, I don't know how much more clear, my rates and conditions, and a lot of vendors do this. A lot of vendors have this exact same language, and I've got, two different things. I want to purchase support hours, and then it talks about the cost of the support hours. Then I want to sign up for a training class. You pay with PayPal, you pay with credit card, but you have to check. I've read and agree to the terms and conditions. So we're going to update the terms and conditions just to clarify, and that's the other thing, right? I'm always learning stuff about business, about how people operate, about how people think. So we're actually going to update our terms and conditions as of today. And we are going to clarify that meetings are billable at full time. Reasonable people, I believe, understand that. And so, but we're going to just go in there and we're just going to, you know, clarify that language so that I don't run into that again. So speaking of that, I've learned a lot of things running a small business since I got my LLC and started doing everything. And is that content that people are interested in? You know, I know Tom kind of does some of that, but I was thinking about it from a different standpoint about, you know, engaging subject matter experts, about actually the framework of running a business, the logistics of running a business. So if you think that that's something that you'd be interested in, and then should I host that content on this channel, or should I start another channel to host the business content? So just let me know what you're thinking about that in the chat. So Sean Wood says, depending on the company and how detailed things get, some meetings are free. So I will do a half hour of emails to get a scope of work, and I'll do a 15 to 20-minute call to get a scope of work. But once somebody says, what equipment do I buy? How do I configure this? Sean, this is probably where you and I are going to disagree. But once somebody is asking for me to give them answers like that, now we've crossed into consulting territory. Another thing that I got, and I was just talking, James is on here. So James works with me very closely on Grandstream deployments and voice over IP deployments. And let me pull up the chat that I just sent to him. So just this morning, I had somebody get a hold of me, and this person gets a hold of me quite often, and it's kind of the same answer. But you know, they start out and they said, I have a Grandstream UCM 6208 and 6 analog lines. The 6 lines have different numbers. Trunk 1 has blah, 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 blah. And they list out all of the phone numbers. And they said, what we want is we want incoming calls from all numbers are working, but I need to know how to make outgoing calls go out certain trunks. How do I do this configuration, please? So I write back, that is a paid service we provide for configuring this. Are you interested in paid consulting? And they write back, no thanks. There it is. I'm not going to waste my time. And the thing is, you get into this in business, you have to pay people who are experts to do things. I don't understand the mindset of, because it's expensive. If you look at what it costs me to put the videos out there that it does, whether it's time, whether it's buying the gear, the lighting, all kinds of stuff. YouTube is not a free proposition, right? Somebody's funding it somehow. And so it's interesting to me that, and I always reply to all of those folks, always, and I offer them the paid consulting. I don't ignore any emails or any contact forms. I answer every single one of them. But often it'll end, a lot of people want a lot of stuff for free, and all the other consultants can tell you that, is that everybody is always asking for something for free. Sterling, how are you, buddy? How is it out west? The other side of the Mississippi River. I'm glad you're here. So, yeah, it's just very interesting to me. So, and Silas, no, I'm not refunding any of the money for that customer, because I do not have a different rate for meetings where I am telling you this is what we should do based on what you want to do. You are now engaging in a paid consulting where you are now getting information out of my brain about how to build these things out. That is not a cursory meeting. That is, yeah. Mac Telecom says that he gets emails all the time for free people, or for people wanting free work, So I have done some consulting for nonprofits who have been hurting in the last few months. So I have had some of that. Now, you can't, as a consultant, you can't write off labor. Labor is not a write-off. And so that stuff, I just bite the bullet on it, and I just, some people just need it, And I would say that there is a huge difference between advice and then when you cross over from advice into actually, okay, you're configuring this for me, or you're telling me how to augment my network and do those kinds of things. So, okay, so people are saying, yeah, it'd be very nice to see another business model in place, keep it on the current channel, and keep it in a separate playlist. Okay. Yeah, 705 Tech says he'd be interested as well, and you know, and I'll tell you, if you just joined us, you know, I've got, you know, here's my terms and conditions. Everything is spelled out right there. Everything we do is on an hourly rate unless it's billed as a project. So I don't think that I'm, you know, I don't think that I'm in the wrong here. And, you know, also I do have customers that ask me about recording. No, Reginald, I do not. My rates are so low right now for what I do. I do not have a nonprofit rate. I will donate time, but my rates right now for the services that I provide for the vendors that I support are the lowest in the industry. So I do not have a nonprofit rate. Yeah, so I am very clear as well. If you look at my terms and conditions, you cannot record our sessions, because I have had recorded sessions. When I first started this, recorded sessions were popping up on YouTube, and that is not property. You know, when I'm doing this is my intellectual property. So, without prior approval, you cannot record our sessions. So it says right here, there's a bullet point. Willie Howe Technology LLC does not allow recording of any kind, video, screen, audio, of support sessions without prior consent. Consent is in the full discretion of Willie Howe. So these terms and conditions have been shared amongst consultants. They have been crafted from personal experience and things like that. So, and I do have clients that I will allow them to record because we are doing things that need to be you know, over and over and over, done over and over and over again. Silas Hack asked me, aren't prices in the USA geo-priced? No, I do not geo-price. I had a client once suggest that I do that I charge people in LA more than I charge people in North Dakota, and charge people in Chicago more than I charge people in Peoria, and charge people in New York more than I charge people in Florida. And that's bull. That is, to me, I thought about it. I sat there and I thought about it, and to me, it just doesn't make any sense, because then, I mean, it's stereotyping. I don't know. I don't believe in, and my rate is the same, you know, no matter what, no matter where you are in the world. So you can ask clients that I have all around the world, you know, and they get charged the same rate as people here in the States get charged. So, and I'm actually pinging Tim right now to update those terms and conditions, and conditions to say meetings are included in billable time. So, and the other thing with that is, so just in end of 2018, in the beginning of 2019, I think it was the end of 2018. And anytime you buy time from us on the website, you get a copy of the current terms and conditions that you agreed to. So you get an email that states the terms and conditions that are displayed here. And it's a 1-for-1 copy. I can prove it's a 1-for-1 copy because we save all incoming and outbound email transactions when it has to do with payments and business arrangements. And so before then, when I first started this, I had worked with other local vendors whose rates were much higher. And when you bought a time pack from them, they expired the time 1 year from the date of purchase. And at the time, I was like, nah. I still have people that paid me in 2017 and 2018 before I started expiring the time 1 year from the date of purchase, who still have multiple hours with me, and they still contact me, and I still just deduct it. And at some point I had to make the decision that I cannot carry, because of the way taxes work and expenses work and things like that, I cannot carry those hours. So in 2018, late 2018, we changed our terms and conditions, and your time now expires 1 year, 1 calendar year from the date of purchase, because I cannot carry those liabilities any longer. Because what has to happen is that money has to sit there, and because if the client needs it, I have to be able to justify that and bring that back in. So it's like an undesignated revenue that's just sitting there, and I don't touch it until that billable time comes in. And that's how all the time works, is the money sits there. and I don't, the business doesn't take a draw, and I don't take a draw until taxes are paid, until the work has been done for the customer. So, and I'm going to have to agree to disagree. So if a customer does record a session and it ends up on YouTube, I can do copyright claims. I can do, depending on if they're monetizing it, they agreed and they don't have it in writing, and now they are using my likeness. They are using, things that were recorded in a private session. No, I can do more than just terminate the. I can do more than just terminate the business condition. You need to learn about copyrights and trademarks, and that's something that I learned about the hard way, and that's some other videos that I want to, make. Let's see here. Do I use any tools for booking? So Mac Telecom, I've been looking at that, but right now, I do everything manually right now, and it's not too bad. We've got, we're moving over to a CRM that has all the customers loaded. And right now we do everything. So some videos that you're going to see later in the fall, because right now I'm actually in transition where we are pulling all of our client, file sharing and stuff like that off of, the Google Cloud onto Synology on-prem. And then we'll talk about, how we do generators, how we do battery backups, how we do security, how we replicate the data. So there's a whole bunch of things that are happening. And Robert Shoesmith, I hope you don't mind me talking about you, but Robert, we just migrated him away from G Suite over to Synology Mail Plus. And as far as I know, it is working out. Yeah. So my rates. So if you look at the vendors locally, and it's kind of funny because I'm actually starting to take clients away from longtime vendors, and I'm not even advertising in the area. It's all word of mouth, through tradespeople that I've worked with and stuff like that. But the traditional vendors that are in the area, their customers are starting to call me. I have a call Monday. I have a call Monday where there's customer who actually went to a vendor that I used in my day job, and they want to charge him $5,000 to set up a firewall, and they thought that was unreasonable. So through word of mouth, it got back to me, and I said, yes, $5,000 for what you are describing to me is unreasonable. We can do it for about $480, $600, somewhere in that neighborhood, and so that relationship is going to be moving forward. And we are actually going to be doing, if you look up the radio station 1470 WMBD, I listen to that, or I listen to NPR on my way to work in the morning, and we are actually going to be running some ads, and James is actually working on getting everything that we need to figure that out, because there are some products that are heavily installed in the area that are no longer supported. And so we are going to target that demographic because it's starting to come up more and more. And we'll see how it works out. I think it's going to work out pretty well. So yeah, I have a real hard time charging people more money or figuring out what my rates are. And that's a whole interesting other conversation that we should probably do a video on. I often struggle with imposter syndrome, and I have friends like Joe over at Cajoling, and I have friends that are here locally that I can talk to about that, and I talk to about people on Twitter, and basically, when you're growing up and your parents are at this level, and this is what you're used to, and then your parents had the foresight to let me preface this. We were not rich growing up. My dad was a union truck driver for a construction company. Mom occasionally cooked and waited tables. We never starved. We never really wanted for anything. I wasn't showered with gifts and things growing up, but I was fortunate that I had two parents that loved me and a dad who saw the future, right? So my dad very much nurtured the technology, and they really had to save to buy me my first Intel-based computer. It wasn't like the Commodore that we picked up at the garage sale. You know, they really made an investment, and I'm glad that they did because it took off. But, you know, when you're used to this, and then you are here, you know, and there's all kinds of things that I've learned by watching other business leaders and people in the industry. And we talk about gross domestic product and about how as a country, you know, the percentage raises. And when you get into it, you know, the expectation of certain lifestyles and things like this is a whole, see, this is why we need to do videos just on this. But like, for me, when you understand, you know, where your dad was at and your mom, and then you're able to provide this level, you know, for your family, it makes you feel extremely fortunate. And, you know, you're like, is this real? Is this really the life that I'm living? Like, and sometimes it causes that, that imposter, you know, syndrome. And it's one of those things that you have to deal with, because do I feel guilty that I make more money than my father did? Sometimes I do, and I don't know why I do, right? And I can't explain it, and it's that whole thing. It's very weird. So that's just something that a lot of people, you know, struggle with. And my wife, my beautiful wife, Samantha Howe, is on here, and she is exactly right. And so somebody said Willie got a Porsche when he turned 16. Willie did not get a Porsche when he turned 16. Willie had a Chevy, it was a little S10, and we got it for $500 from a guy down the road from us, and the body was completely destroyed, and we didn't know that the motor was about ready to blow up. But I taught myself how to drive a 5-speed. I came home from school, my parents had picked it up, it was sitting there. My buddy Kurt comes over, he already knows how to drive a 5-speed, and so we literally just started up, and I taught myself how to drive a 5-speed in that truck. Then one night I'm out on a back road, motor blows up, and I have to walk 5 miles in the fog, you know, one of those old stories. But no, my wife is right. So then the vehicle, you know, that I had to actually pay for from my parents, pay for the insurance, pay for all my stuff by working, was a Ford Taurus station wagon. So, yeah, and Joe, I don't think is the black smudge still on the... I don't think the black smudge is still on the camera, but and my wife may be monitoring us, because here in a little bit we'll have to wrap the live stream, because we gotta run around and do some stuff. But it's very interesting. But can I talk about Grandstream Zero config versus their GDMS? There are videos coming on that, Dave, and we will talk about that. So it's two totally different things. Zero config is a zero touch. You can do zero touch provisioning of phones. If you set it up correctly, you can just start plugging phones into your network, and they automatically start getting names and extensions and all kinds of stuff. It's pretty cool. Mac Telecom, my day job is I run an IT department for a government organization. So that is what I do during the day, which is why there's a very clear, you know, my hours and all that are very clear. I don't try to mix the two, and that's why you don't hear me talk about them very much. So this is actually, you could call it a side business, but I work just as many hours in the consulting as I do for my day job. So I'm really working 2 full-time jobs. And somebody said that I was a fool for doing that. And I said, well, I've got goals, right? We've got a 5-year plan for where our family wants to be in 5 years. And guess what? Just sitting around doing the minimum, that's not going to cut it, folks. If you want to get ahead, you got to put in the work. Make sure you're pulling yourself up every morning by your bootstraps, kicking yourself in the ass, getting to work, putting the work in. Nothing's free in this life. And if somebody told you that, you know, it's not true. Nothing is free. So you got to put the work in. So no, this is not just a side business. This is literally a second job. You know, you could call it a side business, but it is literally a second job, because I run this. If you look at my consulting hours, when I'm not, you know, if I'm not working OT for the day job, my consulting hours start at 4:30 p.m. and go to 12:30 a.m. It's a full 8-hour shift. So, and that includes running the business overhead. That includes doing consulting for clients, and you know, and I'm working on the weekends, you know, and I do work a lot with my family, or my family understands that I work a lot, but we're all seeing, you know, the payback from that. And like I said, we've got a 5-year plan. So we'll see how it works out. The problem is so I'm not monetized. So you'll notice that if there are ads on the channel, I don't get the money from that. I did a video on how to block ads with an edge router a few years ago, and YouTube pulled my monetization, which is fine, and I don't want anybody to contact them about it. I've appealed. I totally get it. At the time, I was in the wrong. But some of the other content creators, you will notice that that's why they tiptoe very lightly around doing videos on Pi-hole and things like that, because they could get demonetized for doing ads on, or doing videos on how to block ads. It's a very real possibility that that could happen. So I'm 110% good with it. The Amazon affiliate stuff, I'm going to be fully transparent with you. I make less than $10,000 a year on Amazon affiliates. I appreciate everybody that clicks on those and uses those, because it does kick some money in here, and it helps pay the phone bill. It helps get gear, laptop that I need, cameras, stuff like that. So my money is in this business is primarily made through consulting engagements. So let's see here. What is the product? Hours are removing a problem, or so? Yeah, no, the only thing that they were quoting was installing a firewall with the license. So I provide solutions. Another thing that I do is I never mark up gear. I never handle physical gear because I don't want to deal with the state of Illinois sales tax. So we never stock gear, excuse me. So if you engage with me in consulting and you need gear, I have a couple different resellers that you actually would buy at my cost. So they set up an account with you and you actually get reseller pricing. And that ensures that you get full warranty, full support, the whole bit. And it works out really well. They drop ship the stuff to me. I configure it and ship it to you. So, yeah, so Mac Telecom works as a computer engineer for a bank. That's interesting. So, yeah, but all right, so a couple more quick things. If you follow me on social media, you'll see the post that I made that said bigger isn't always better. My wife cannot comment on this, but, you know, this is the USB key that I usually use for installing OpenSense. And I had a box that had a VGA port, so I had to quick make one of these because I had to get it done the other day. So I just thought that was hilarious. So that's enough talk. We're not going to get to WRT today, but that's enough talk about size and all that. Real quick, I want to thank Reolink for sending this bad boy out to me. So this is a PTZ camera, 5 megapixel, and we're going to hook this up. And this is actually the camera that is going to watch over our this is the camera that's going to watch over our chicken coop. So I've not taken this out of the box yet. So that's what I'm going to do right now, real quick, because I've got about 12 minutes, and then my wife's going to be down here dragging me out by my ear. But hold on just a second. Let me open this. It's coming out of the box. All right, first thing that's in the box, nifty Reolink propaganda. So we'll look at that here in a second. Oh yeah, look at this thing. So this is nice. Let's see. It's got the pendant mount, or the wall mount is built right into the camera. So this thing is not as big as what I thought it was going to be. This is going to get mounted to our shed out there. And there's the bottom, so you can see the big IRs. There's 6 of those big IRs, and the lens there in the middle. So it is full PTZ. Can spin 360 degrees. Listen to this. Don't know if you could hear that. That may not be good on it. It makes that noise no matter which way I spin it. I'm like a kid in a candy shop, man. There's the Reolink logo on there. So on the end of this cable, we've got Ethernet. We've got a reset button. We've got a DC jack. So there's Ethernet. Reset button. There is DC power, and then that looks like external mic right there, because I don't believe that you know, I do believe that this does not have a mic. I think you have to use the external mic, but we'll learn more about that when we hook it up. But I needed to get this thing out of the box, and I needed an excuse to do it, and the live stream was the perfect excuse to take this thing out of the box. But look at this thing. This is going to get mounted this weekend. I got some other things we've got to do out there. We've got a groundhog problem, so we've got to deal with that. The content was light this week, and the reason that content was light this week is because we had to tear up deck boards. And Joe, I was talking to Joe over. So if you don't know Joe over at Reolink Technologies, his videos from the beginning, the quality has been excellent because that's kind of like his background. He's doing some real good stuff. He did a Unify switch fan upgrade video the other day, and it's the best one I've ever seen. Go check out Reolink Technologies and go check out Reolink Technologies. Subscribe to Joe over there. Give Joe some love. And Joe's a great guy. He's an AWS. He's slowly trying to bring me over to the dark side of the cloud. He's almost got me convinced to do some videos on that. Also, EduIT guy over in Australia. If you don't know him, go check him out. We are going to do some collaboration pretty soon on vendor marketing and the propaganda that vendors put out and how most of it's bull. So, but the problem is, a lot of times that marketing propaganda doesn't get to people like us, right? It gets to the C-suite who don't really understand, and they see certain buzzwords that they like, and then it's all downhill from there, and we've got to deal with the fallout from that, whether you're a consultant, whether you're an employee, or whatever. All right, so inside that little propaganda package is a quick start guide, the Reolink sticker, which will probably go on the wall because I don't put security system stickers on my house. I don't like that. It's too much of an advertisement, and people are smart. And then I love it when companies send their mounting bracket layout. So this little guy will go out there on the wall. It's actually a sticker, and then I'll be able to drill the holes in the right place. But back to, the marketing hype is crazy. So marketing hype equals dumpster fire. Remember that. So, but we had to tear up all the deck boards to get the groundhogs, and we were pouring an ammonia soap water solution down the holes, and I thought my son was gonna pee down his leg because a groundhog came running out. I couldn't get to it in time. We did get one out of the yard, and so we think we've got two more. So that's what we're doing. We got to mow and do all that stuff today. We got to go on a walk. My wife is doing an amazing job with her weight loss. Even through the pandemic, she continued to lose weight. She's down like 25 pounds. I'm now down to pre-pandemic weight when I had started Weight Watchers. So I'm thinking about doing vlogs on that. Would you be interested in watching, an IT guy lose weight? Sean probably would, because if Sean could get me out to where he's at to run that. Sean, I want to do a video collaboration with you. Are you down with that? I know Sean doesn't. Sean does some stuff. Sean made a really cool video about Ubiquity stuff, and I don't think it ever got released. But Sean, can you and I get on video? I've also got Ryan Raitt out of Chicago, used to be known as the Immature Dad. Check out I don't know if you'll find him if you search for the Immature Dad, because he renamed his channel. I think I'll have to look. I just saw he renamed it. I hit him up on Facebook, and I'm like, dude, you're renaming your channel? Because I thought the Immature Dad was awesome. But he's an Active Directory guy. He's now getting into security. He used to work for a metro authority in Chicago, switched jobs, but him and I are going to collaborate as well. So somebody must have not liked my business advice, because I got one thumbs down on the stream. My kids are trolling me, but somebody must have not liked the hard truth about the business advices and working hard is all I can say about that. Then in the box for the Reolink, you have an AC adapter. This thing should be PoE, but they probably send this just in case. So you've got the AC adapter there. You've got mounting gear here, screws. Got an Ethernet cable. And then you've got all of the plastic bits and bobs that you need to make all of the wire connections waterproof when they're outside. So, so Nathan is here. Nathan, Real quick, can I tell the crowd the exciting news that you and I have been working on? Can I leak something here? So Nathan is the owner and creator of NetTool. I'm under NDA by him, but if he gives me the green light here in the live chat, I've got some exciting news that I might be able to share with you. So Nathan, if you heard that, let me know. And real quick, while we're waiting for Nathan, let's pop back over to the web feed here. And DDWRT, I am getting ready to load this on a Protectly. And I don't know if anybody else has done that or not, but I'm going to do a video on loading the x86/64 version of DDWRT on a Protectly box. So I've got a client that has Protectly installed at their main location, and then they've got a house in Mexico, and they've got a box of DDWRT, and they need a VPN. So and I need to troubleshoot it. So it's pretty interesting. It's been years since I messed with DDWRT, and it was on a WRT 54G. So Nathan hasn't answered yet. So since Nathan hasn't answered, I am likely not going to spill the beans here. So Nathan, here's our chance. Going once, going twice. Nathan, not yet, but something great, crazy, never been done before, finishing up legal. So he's working with his lawyers. Once Nathan gives me the green flag, trust me, you're going to love this. I've been working with him. I've been testing it. He just sent me a new version. You're not even going to believe where NetTool and Nathan are going next, but it's great. I'm so glad that we've been working together, and we are working on that certification class for NetTool. So there's going to be a free NetTool certified professional class. There's going to be video and written instruction. You're going to go through. It's going to be divided into chapters. You're going to take a quiz, and then there's going to be a certification exam, and then you'll be issued a free certificate. So we'll be opening that probably August, September for the current version of NetTool. So leave it in the comments. Shoot me a message, whatever. Should I do personal vlog stuff like, hey, how does an IT guy lose weight? How does an IT guy stay in shape? Should I do the business lessons, lessons learned the hard way, things like that? So, let me know down in the comments. Shoot me an email, all that good stuff. I always appreciate all of you. I really hope that you know that. I really want to thank you for spending your time this Saturday morning with me. I know we kind of got off on a tangent, but I hope you'll come back for the Synology content that's coming this week and some of the other stuff. Everybody's loving the UDM or the USG unified rules, so that's great. So we're going to head out. We got a bunch of stuff that we've got to get done. Leave things in the comments. Leave some information about what you want to see. Send me emails. Call me. All that good stuff. I want to thank you for being here. And as always, I'll see you